Ee-ah-oo. Ma, 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 ma. Ma, me, me, mo, moo. Okay, so what on earth am I doing? Well, yes, good question. So I've not had this mic. Well, I've had it ages actually, but I've just not used it. So I'm just learning the resonance of it. I'm just learning where the sweet spots are. Because the thing with a mic is, like, for me and any vocalist, I think, like, it's not sound is yes important, but really response is what matters when you sing, and how you choose a microphone is really about how it responds to your voice. And there's like for want of a better expression, there's a bite. There's a point where it resonates, and your resonance will be in tune with it, and you will, well, it will just feel good. It will just feel like you're singing. Now, I know how my voice resonates on an SM7B. And ever so gently will keep you alive. I know that if I just point my nose at the edge of it, I can just really drive into my mask. I can, as in, that's a whole other topic. Right, singing from the mask is the thing that you need to do. This resonant area here. This is not, I'm not explaining this well. This is a subject for another video. You brought out the mischief, the phone won't stop ringing, and never so gently will keep you alive. That, I just know how to do that on this mic. Whether I do it very well is entirely debatable, but the point is I know where it bites. I couldn't do that comfortably on like an SM58. I can't find the bite on an SM58, for example. And this mic, I would expect to have a really nice, crisp bite, and it does, but it's hard. Coming from that, I did some recording this morning, and it was like just awful. It was just really chesty and just not very nice tone at all, because I just didn't know where the sweet spot was where the sweet spot was. So that's why I've been going through all these vocal exercises just to play with it and kind of find out where it is. And a singer that's really influenced my approach to handheld, how I use a handheld mic, is Tom York, who has a really good mic technique. He traditionally uses a Shure Beta 87A. It's not dissimilar to this in the sense that it's a condenser microphone, but it's a handheld one. And he does this really interesting thing where he brings the mic up to his nose and then brings his mouth up to that. And what happens is if you've got the roof of your mouth kind of directed at these a little bit, you can just really, the bite, it's like increases the resolution, it feels like. There's just that, it's much more subtle in terms of if you're doing a lot of that kind of like really bright mask resonance, which he does and I do. It's really nice and easy to target it once you bring the mic up. I see a lot of people do this, like they're reading the football scores or something. Get this microphone up high. This is true for any handheld microphone, but you'll notice it even more so on a condenser. So much sound is bouncing off the roof of your mouth when you sing that directing that to the microphone with this technique is just a really, of course, the problem is if you do it downwards, the airflow is having a harder time getting up. So you really want your voice to come up. You see an opera singer, they'll lift up slightly. This is a good technique to have. But then in a rock context, when you're using a handheld mic, as opposed to, say, a wearable mic, you've then got to work to it. And that technique of bringing it up to your nose and then looking up to it is really good. It's a really strong way to get those upper harmonics and just get the brightness of your voice across. That's what I'm doing this morning. That's why I'm playing around with these vocal exercises and making a right old racket, is because I don't know this mic well enough yet. I don't even know what I'm going to do with it. I was going to record with it. I'm a big fan of Dan Tompkins from Tesseract, especially his other project, Zeta, and I know that he recorded all the vocals for that album on one of these. part of the reason I'm doing this is, of course, because I don't have access to my studio because we're in lockdown. There's no way of going to my studio where all my other fancy microphones are, such as my Rode K2, my big valve mic, and I've got a SE valve mic something or other. I've got loads of mics at the studio. But A, I can't get to the studio, and B, even if I could go to the studio and just grab them, there's not really much point bringing them home because they're just not. This isn't an environment that suits large diaphragm microphones very well. This is my makeshift. This is just my lockdown studio. This is literally just the stuff that I've chucked in the garage to do some recording at home. Those mics need to be in a good environment, in a better environment. And although my studio isn't like super well treated, it's kind of like it's a nice vibey room, and there's enough treatment to kind of control it. So with that in mind, it's much easier to use like a big fancy valve mic in that setting. These mics are much more forgiving. There's really nothing more forgiving than the SM7B when it comes to tracking vocals in less than ideal scenarios. But this was just the alternative. If I wanted to do something handheld, I thought I would use the... I'm moving this mic all over the place, which is changing the sound of my voice quite a lot. What's this called? I don't even know what it's called. KMS 105. It's a... Some people call them Neumann. It's one of them. Let's see if I can get it to focus. But it doesn't want to focus on that because it just loves... The camera loves my face so much. Yeah, so just thinking about the feel of the mic is really more important. I would rather like get, if I'm producing somebody or engineering somebody's voice, I'd rather get a mic that feels good for that person and then make the best of it in terms of what I can do with it as a producer, engineer, whatever. I don't ever want my taste to determine the mic choice. Do you know what I mean? Like, just because I think a mic sounds good, well, it sounds good with what? It depends on how that person sings, Like, I really like SM7Bs. Some people will probably sound a bit flat on them. I also really like Rode K2s. I mean, actually, the Rode K2 is this is kind of a nerdy point, but like, I bought a Rode K2 many, many years ago, and it was really expensive at the time. And I've done really good stuff with it and recorded loads of people with it, from Grant James, Matilda Pratt. Loads of people use that mic all the time at my studio. It doesn't actually suit my voice that well. So there you go. Just because I love it, and I think it's a really great mic, and it captures people so well, it just so happens that my singing style... it doesn't bring out the best in my voice, and actually both of these mics are better for me than the much more expensive and fancier valve mic that I have at the studio. So there you go. That's about as geary as I get on YouTube, I think. Cool.